Welcome to Just Start, Get Visible, your go-to resource of the journey to becoming more visible in a way that feels right for you. Hey there. Welcome back to yet another episode of Just Start, Get Visible. It's Jacqueline here, and it is time for another episode where we are drawing from a dynamic episode that we had earlier this month with Dallas Gordon. In the spirit of me pushing back on what has become this push to do more and produce more, I am taking some of our best content, and instead of quickly recording this content and moving on, instead I'm milking it. Right? I'm pulling every fiber of goodness out of content versus quickly recording and moving on. So episode number 245, if you want to go back and either watch that or listen to it, you can go to jacquelinembaker.com/245. I had a conversation with Dallas Gordon, and we talked about all the things, so much goodness that the rest of our episodes for the entire month of February are going to pull and unravel some of the great learnings and some of the great conversation that we had in that episode. In episode number 246, we talked about the art of reinvention. And today we're talking about visibility with integrity, because it seems like it's impossible for us to not be visible. It doesn't matter if you have a job. It doesn't matter if you are an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter where we're at in the world. It's almost impossible for us to be invisible. Right? And there are truly big perks to being visible as well. Of course, here we talk all about those perks because this podcast is called Just Start, Get Visible in a way that feels right for you. However, I do want to make sure that I'm not just saying get visible, get visible, get visible. And then we're doing it in any old way. And then we feel bad about it. We feel like we've showed up in a way that wasn't us to begin with, that isn't coming from a place of integrity, from a place of solid personal ethics or professional ethics. So let's dig into that just a little bit. Let's talk all about being visible, but also being visible with our integrity in mind overall. Okay. I know from being in these very visible spaces that there is often this pressure to perform, right? Versus this desire or this opportunity for us to have the freedom to be real. And what's so fascinating about this whole perform versus being real is even the way that social has manifested itself over the past, I'll say even 5 years. Think about, 3, 5, 7 years ago, when if you scrolled any platform, right, you would see these perfectly curated walls or perfectly curated timelines of just, perfect curation. Now you scroll those same timelines of maybe even those same people, and it's showing them being real, right? Being messy. And there's so much more engagement around that. And when I say messy, I don't mean messy like messy. I mean messy like it not being a perfect template. Okay. I'm not saying anybody's messy. Don't be messy. All right. It's amazing that we are now in this space, and actually refreshing that we're in a space where it's like, look, we're not perfect out here. Right. And which is actually one of the supporting things that I want to talk about as it relates to this pressure of performing versus being real. We're now in this space of having the permission to show the imperfection and the in process seasons of our world. Right. I was just talking to a girlfriend the other day who is in the stationary space, and how she is able to show a bit more of her process, right? Versus it just being boom, it's all good, it's all perfect. It's like, no, there's a process to this. And a lot of people like to know what that behind the scenes process is of whatever it is, right? It could be, I am starting to be a better public speaker, and I'm not going to just come out and be perfect. I'm going to show my stumbles a little bit. And I'm not saying show all the gushy parts, right? You can show what feels good to you, whatever checks your ethics test or your integrity test. But you have permission now more than ever to show the imperfect and in process seasons, right? Because none of us are perfect. Even the people that we think are, we quickly find out that they aren't, because you're a human. So as we're thinking about this pressure to perform versus the freedom to be real, you have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to give yourself permission to show the imperfect, right? Especially now more than ever. The second thing I want you to do is that you can embrace this opportunity to be transparent, right? To show the imperfect, but also be transparent in the spaces that you feel transparent about. I know that these phrases of most authentic self and even the word authenticity, right, makes people feel like you got to share it all. And no, you have an opportunity to share what you choose to share. I don't share all facets of my life because all facets of my life aren't for public consumption, right? There are things that I am more private about than I'm not, and it's a choice. And it's something that works well for me and my family and my friend groups, etc. So for you, what is your threshold of transparency that you choose to show? For some people, they're like, on this journey, I may show you, some stumbles that I made as it relates to speaking or starting my side business, whatever it is. But I'm not going to show this part. Or I'm not going to record at home, or I'm not going to record in my car, or whatever it is. Just what is transparency for you? Okay. So remember, there is this pressure to perform versus the freedom to just be real. However, how are you going to choose to show up, even in an imperfect way? And what does transparency mean to you? Okay. The other thing I want you to embrace, and the reason why this podcast is so special and important to me, is because we talk about the opportunity for you to be visible in a way that feels right for you. So essentially going on your journey of finding your unique visibility style. How is it that you feel comfortable being visible? Take a second and think about which vert category do you more fall into? Are you more of an introvert? Are you more of an extrovert? Are you more of an ambivert, right? Multipassionate, right? Whatever vert it is that you fall into, just be honest with that about yourself. And know that there is a social presence or there is a visibility path for you, even in knowing that. For me, I'm an ambivert, which means when I'm on, when I'm off, I'm off. That also means that I know that I am going to sometimes hit my social wall way faster than most people assume that I do because I spend so much time speaking and presenting and being on stages. But because of that, I have a visibility style where I know I have to front load. For example, I usually record a significant number of podcast episodes and I batch them. That's not a secret, and lots of people do that, but that works for me. Or if I know that I have to fly cross country to speak somewhere, like I prefer to like cluster. I can go here and speak, go here and speak, go here and speak. And then like I've used up all my energy. So I'm gonna then, I wouldn't say hermit, but I'm gonna go recharge. So for me, that is the visibility style that works for me. For some people, they're like, no, I want a little here and a little there and a little bit, a little bit every day. That's not the style that works well for me. You can also think of this in terms of platforms. For some people, no, like they're like, you know what, I'm an audio person, and okay, audio might not be as hot as video is right now, but perhaps that is the visibility style that works well for you. Audiobooks are still selling out here, right? And they are for a reason, because some people still do like to hear versus read, right? They engage in different ways. So, what is your unique visibility style, and how are you overlaying who you are as a person, what your personality style is, and how that works well together? Okay. Also, know that getting visible today, present day, means something different. There used to be a time when if I said get visible, that would mean one thing. That would mean maybe getting on stage. That would mean, feeling like you're almost on a reality show. And that's not how it works today. Fortunately, there are lots of mediums for you to get visible. You can get visible through blog posts. You can get visible through writing. You can get visible through being on stage. You can get visible by connecting at your local HOA association. There are lots of ways to get visible versus just at one point it was just you got to be on stage and everybody's got to know everything about you. No, they don't. So visibility means something different, but are you still taking advantage of your opportunity to show up in your unique visibility style based on what that looks like today? Okay. And then lastly, is I'm curious about how you are choosing to align your visibility with your personality and your values. Okay. In episode number 246, I talked a bit about grounding and how on this journey of maybe even reinventing yourself, you may feel like, ooh, but am I losing the essence of who I am? My wondering is, do you have values already identified that allow you to benchmark against them? There are ways that I choose to get visible, and there are ways that I choose to not get visible because they do not align with my values. It's like, yeah, I'll do that, but I ain't doing that. Okay. And even if I know that that is going to get me further faster, but that doesn't align with my values. And yes, it might be a quick win, it might be a substantial financial win, but then, how do I feel next week when I actually have to execute on this decision that I made, even if the money was good? So, how do you align your visibility with your personality, like who you are as a person, and more importantly, with your values. And of course, now that we've explored the world of understanding that there is pressure to perform versus just the freedom to be real, now that we know that finding your unique visibility style is an opportunity for you, there's also this opportunity to make sure you know that there is a way for this whole thing, this whole world of being visible, for it to be sustainable. Because yes, you can do quick hits, you can do quick wins, you can do things that maybe get you a big splash, but is that what you're after, or are you trying to ensure that this is something sustainable that you can actually keep going at? Okay. One of the ways that I choose to keep my visibility sustainable is by ensuring that there is a process, by avoiding burnout while staying consistent because there's a process. So, for example, I could have started the video version of the Just Start Get Visible podcast journey way sooner. Like, way sooner. We are 247 episodes in now, multiple years in. And guess what? I could have started doing video way sooner. However, I knew that based on how my life has gone and based on what's going on in my life, that wasn't sustainable. And so until I had a solid process, I was like, hold on, you gotta wait. Because if you don't have a solid process, you're just gonna burn out, you're not gonna be consistent, and I don't like that. So what is the process by which you are being consistent? And that can mean a lot of different things, right? For some people, you're like, hey, you know what? I want to start being more visible on LinkedIn, for example. Well, are you getting Google alerts that allow you to easily serve up the people who are on your timeline with content that you want to be connected with? So, for me, for example, this is no secret. I've said this many times. I have leadership Google alerts that come to my box. I have etiquette Google alerts that come to my box. And that allows me to search for good content, some research information that gets served up to me so that I can stay consistent with ensuring that people think of me, think of the work that we do at Scarlet in a certain way. And so that's one of the ways that I stay visible, by consistently getting information served up to me in addition to the information that I search for. That's a part of our process. So for you, is there a similar process that you can adopt to ensure that you are being consistent? Because these onesie twosies, fly by night, do a little bit here, do a little bit there, it may feel good real quick, but then you burn out because you can't sustain it, right? So avoiding burnout while also staying consistent by using processes, whatever your processes are, can benefit you greatly so that your visibility can be sustainable. I also want you to, and we talked about this just a short while ago, to recognize that you have the opportunity to set boundaries, right? To set boundaries around what you choose to share and what you don't choose to share. There are certain parts of my life that will never make it to video. There are certain people in my family that will never make it to video. There are certain number of friends and certain friends that I have that don't want to be a part of anything visible that I have going on. And so if I have something, if I'm hosting something and I know that they're going to be there, I'm probably going to adjust the way that I move because I'm choosing to be visible, right? I'm not forcing everybody in my life to be visible. So are there boundaries that you can set with your audience, community, family, whatever, so that you don't bring people into your stuff that don't want to be brought into that? So what are the boundaries that you're setting? And also in alignment with your processes, are there rituals? Are there routines? And are there mindset shifts, right, that can help you show up with ease? For me, I am a pretty big planner. And when I don't plan things out, I can feel it. I felt it a lot in 2025. For some reason, it felt like, and I don't think I've really shared this, I felt like I was busy catching up for so much of 2025. And if I really look back, it is because some of my rituals and my routines had fallen off. And I can't even exactly tell you why. The end of the year ended a bit tragically with a really big loss in my life, but that wasn't until the end of the year. So it did make the year overall feel heavier. But when the rituals and routines and even your mindset shifts, the things that you're telling yourself are out of rhythm, then it diminishes your ability to even feel like what you're doing is sustainable. So what are the things that have to happen? For me, my gratitude journal, starting the day out with that makes me feel on top of it, ready to go, right? So there are just certain things that we can have in place so that our visibility practices can be sustainable versus feeling like, oh, I'm just doing this just for the week and it feels good. But then what about next week? Okay. Let's wrap this on up. This entire episode today, in support of our overall messages in February, all stemming from that dynamic conversation that I had with Dallas, episode number 245, Today's episode was all about being visible, but also doing it with integrity, doing it in a way that aligns with you and your values overall. We had the opportunity today to explore just realizing that there is this pressure that a lot of us have to perform versus this freedom to be real, to be transparent, to be honest, to show up even when it's imperfect. And it usually is going to be imperfect because we're human. We also have this unique opportunity to find our visibility style, what works for us and what doesn't. Not feeling like, okay, well, if I see Jacqueline here, 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 and here, then I have to be here, 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 and here. And no, 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 you don't. All right. And thirdly, is being sustainable and having sustainable visibility practices is going to benefit you because there are processes, there are procedures, there are rituals that can serve you well if you actually honor them. Okay. This, of course, has been episode number 247. What I'm hoping is that you will give yourself permission to be visible, but to be visible ethically. Because if we're doing it in a way that feels slimy, that feels salacious, that doesn't feel like it's in alignment with who we are, we're not going to want to keep doing it. So, how are you being visible with your very own ethics in mind? Head over to episode number 245 if you want to get another refresher of all the great topics that we've been talking about this month at jacquelineandbaker.com/245. But otherwise, I have an ask for you. Will you share this episode with someone else? Because there might be someone that you're thinking, you know what, they can really benefit from this. Well, don't be a content hoarder. Share this with them. This episode was quick and lean and to the point in less than 20 minutes on purpose because I wanted to make sure that you had what you needed in a quick, concise way, and more importantly, that you're sharing it with other people. All right. Wherever you're at in the world, I hope that you're safe. I hope that you're healthy and I hope that you're well. And I certainly hope that you're giving yourself permission to start the things that you want to do and get visible in a way that feels right for you. You take care of yourself, and I want to see you for the very next episode. It's a good one. It's episode number 248. So I'll see you over there in just a short while. You take care of yourself and ciao.